vision. Jim actually led the coming together of the Hamilton and Burlington Y and the Brantford Y, building trust and relationships along the way. Jim and the Y team demonstrated their commitment to the health of the community over the years. They led the development of the Live Well program, a partnership between the Y, McMaster University, and Hamilton Health Sciences, making a difference for thousands of people, improving their physical, social, and emotional well-being.
Well, there are a lot of wonderful attributes that Jim has. And, I kind of followed his career. He was the CEO of the Coburg Y at the time and did a great job there to the point where they named a youth leadership award after him. And then he went to the Barrie YMCA, and he was a real big part of amalgamating those Ys to become the YMCA of Simcoe Muskoka. And then he went to the Hamilton YMCA and a big part of amalgamating Hamilton, Burlington, and Brantford. He's been able to facilitate helping to organize YMCAs so that it can be more effective and more sustainable over time. And he does that in a very diplomatic way. And that's kind of my big impression of Jim. Jim has a tendency to ask tough questions, and he has a tendency to be constructive in how he asks those questions, always coming from a very positive and helpful intention. He's a real good developer of people. And so a lot of the people who work for Jim and work with Jim, they're very committed, they're very passionate about the work. And he strikes me as being someone who's an enabler, facilitator, as well as a leader. And so people development, community development, YMCA development are all the kinds of things that I see in Jim. He and his team were quite masterful in working with the Six Nations and other partners in the new Brantford YMCA and that concept. And that was really a lot of tough sledding, and he stuck with it, and the outcomes are really positive.
His leadership style was in getting people involved, giving people authority and responsibility. He was wonderful. And from what I hear, he's done the same down in Hamilton and Burlington as well.
Jim, it was obvious within the World Urban Network, was one of those leaders who did not feel that testosterone was important in showing great leadership. And in a group which had lots of male leaders, I felt that was really, really important to create a kind of dynamic where women leaders would feel safe and would feel able to have their voice heard. And Jim was one of those, in my view, who was instrumental in ensuring that the tone of our discussions and the tone at which we engage with each other was not so much macho, and it was actually about a different kind of leadership, which I really, really appreciated.
Jim's legacy, I would say it was bringing in Brantford into the Hamilton-Burlington Y family, the agreement with the University of Laurier, the memorandum of understanding with our Six Nations, Mohawk and Nipissing communities, and the construction of state-of-the-art 120,000 square foot building on time, on budget. And if that wasn't enough, it was discovered during the course of construction there were some 400,000 artifacts dating back as far as 500 BC, all of which that had to be excavated, carefully excavated, with the care and respect that they deserve. And none of this could have been possible unless Jim was trusted and well respected by all those whom he dealt with. That, in my opinion, is Jim's legacy.
I think Jim's legacy in the Y, in part, obviously, other than his long career and the Ys that he's built and the impact he's had in communities, for me, will also be how Jim's been a leader with Indigenous relations within the area, but then also within Canada more broadly. We're able to talk about the relations that Jim was able to build with Six Nations and the program and bigger ambitions that he had to move forward and show others it can be done. I think of Jim's role in our movement towards reconciliation of YMCAs across Canada and his ongoing encouragement and endorsement. And I think through Jim's leadership, his authentic leadership, he helped to bring others along in that journey as well. So I think Jim's legacy will be multifaceted, but for me, will certainly be him bringing the Wise to work with First Nations and bringing others along with him on that journey.
We're judged ultimately by the condition that we leave things in when we move on. And I think as we reflect upon Jim's retirement from his role at the Hamilton, Brantford, Burlington Y, as we think about him moving into a new chapter of his life, the one thing that I'm absolutely certain of is both that our community and that the Y as an organization in Hamilton, Brantford, and Burlington are stronger and better for his leadership. And I'm grateful for the friendship that he's provided. I'm grateful for the sounding board that he has offered and extended. And most importantly, I'm thankful for the difference that he's made.
Hi, Jim. It's Ava Hill here from Six Nations of the Grand River. As you start the next chapter of your life with your retirement from the YMCA of Hamilton, Burlington, and Brantford, I wanted to thank you for your many years of service. I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to work with you and your colleagues at the YMCA, particularly with respect to your efforts to bring the Beyond the Bell program and the YMCA summer program to Six Nations of the Grand River. These programs proved to be highly successful and were tremendously appreciated by our kids, our parents, and by our community. The commitment of you and your colleagues contributed to their success. I believe that collaboration and partnership is a true demonstration of reconciliation for the future generations. And this partnership was reflected in bringing those programs to our community. It was also reflected last year when you traveled and visited our community and presented me with the Peacemaker Medal for 2020 on behalf of the YMCA of Brantford, Burlington, and Hamilton. This award hangs proudly in my home office, and as I look at it every day, I am reminded of the friendship and the partnership that we have established with the YMCA, and I will treasure it forever. Given the years that we have worked together, I also believe that we have developed a meaningful friendship that I'm sure will lead well into the future. Jim, I wish you nothing but the best as you begin your retirement. And I warn you, however, that as somebody who has been retired for 2 years already, you're probably going to be very busy continuing to work with the youth. I'm sure you will do the same after you have a bit of a rest. So stay safe, take care, and who knows, perhaps one day our paths will cross again at the YMCA in Brantford. All the best, Jim.